Alright folks, about a year ago I put out a video about an Ulterra trolling motor from Minn Kota that seized up, locked up. It's a story that is common with a lot of people that have run these motors. A lot of people call them Ulterra just because of all the things that can go wrong with them. And the story that I put out, the video, taught me one thing. There are a lot of apologists out there for Minn Kota. And there's a lot of people that love their products. I personally love their trolling motors. They're all I've ever run. I'm not sponsored by them, by the way. And I've had, I believe, 3 of them at this point, 4 of them at this point. And they have all worked flawlessly except for the Ulterra. And I'll give you a little backstory on what happened there. And the actual problem is going to shock you. The motor came on a boat that I bought used, and I used it. Learned a few of the little things you got to be careful of. You got to make sure you've got batteries for your remote, because if your remote dies, your motor's stuck. Make sure you got a good power supply, because if your motor's deployed and your battery dies on your trolling motor, well, your motor's stuck. So things like that. But the most important thing was, well, we'll get into that in a second. What happened was I'd been out fishing, and I'd been running this thing for probably a year, 8 months. And again, experienced a few of the things going on with it, but had been out fishing all day, had stowed it and deployed it several times, and it all of a sudden turned off and was locked in place. Now, for y'all that don't know, you're basically using a remote like this one to deploy the motor. You hit a button on it, the motor goes into the water automatically, you don't deal with it, and you hit another button, it comes out of the water and stows itself. Well, it locked up and quit working and was in the water. Tried all kinds of resets. Everybody, when you post one of these videos complaining about the motor, they give you all these solutions to it. Well, none of those solutions worked. I used every one of the resets and unhooked the power from the battery itself. Everything, every reset there is for the motor, none of that stuff works. So appreciate all the advice from the armchair Minn Kota repairman out there. None of that stuff worked. A lot of people complain that there was improper maintenance. We're going to get to that in a second. That's going to surprise you. But bottom line was I had to pull the motor up. All you can do is run it up and down the shaft. It is stuck in position. Because of the corkscrew gearing in these things, they are stuck once they're deployed. And there's a bunch of fixes where you can take side panels off, undo screws, loosen this. The bottom line is it's not something you want to be doing out on the water. It's an easy way to lose stuff. So that was my big complaint, a very big flaw in that design. But was able to stow it with a strap that I kept on the boat from some other previous issues I'd had where I had learned a lesson. And took it to a repair shop. Had to basically unmount it from the boat, took it to a repair shop. We've got a certified Minn Kota repair shop near us, luckily. Tuck it in, said to the guy, and this is the stuff that's going to be interesting to you folks. Yeah, brought it in, and he just grinned. And I said, "You work on the Ulterras?" And he just pointed over to the floor. And he grinned, and there were like 3 of them laying there. And I said, "I guess you do." And he said, "Yep." He said, "I'll probably call you back this afternoon or tomorrow and have it ready." And I was like, I said, "You hadn't even looked at it yet." And he goes, "It's one of 3 things." And I was like, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah." He says, "One of 3 things." He said, "I'll let you know." He said, "Only one of them's bad." So anyway, I go home, and about, I don't know, 3 hours later, he called me back. Said, "Hey, got your motor ready?" And he said, "I hate to tell you what it is. I'll show you when you get here." So go in the next day to pick it up when he's in the shop. Guy's amazing, by the way. Retired Navy electronics guy. Got an amazing setup in this shop for working on these things. Did an amazing job. And he said, "Yeah, usually it's one of about 3 things that go wrong on them. Pretty easy to fix." He said, "This one," he said, "a little different." He said, "But He said you had a dirt dauber build a nest inside the motor and inside the housing part, and somehow part of it had fallen apart and had laid across one of the sensors. There are some sensors in there that detect when the motor's deployed, not deployed, a bunch of stuff I don't understand. But one of these sensors was blocked by a piece of this, and that's what caused it to lock in place in the middle of the trip. And so, I asked him, I said, well, what can you do, what do you do, maintenance-wise to prevent this? And he just looked at me and he goes, there's, outside of keeping your boat inside a stored, enclosed garage or something like that, he said you could probably put a trash bag over it and tie it shut or something to keep them out. He said, but there ain't nothing you can do. I said, what about other maintenance? Because I heard this from a lot of people that watched the video. You're not doing proper maintenance on it. And he just kind of looked at me kind of weird, like, there's really no maintenance on these motors. They're designed just to work. I was like, oh, okay. So for all you folks that blamed it on improper maintenance and you should have done this, there's really nothing to do. Go read the owner's manual. There's, outside of making sure it's clean, which, I never thought about taking a motor apart to look for dirt dauber nests inside of it. There's really nothing you can do. It's just one of those things that, at least with this model, this is one of the original ones, one of the just inherent issues that happen. So I'm curious if Minn Kota has any of their newer auto deploy motors have gotten better. I'd love to know. I'd love to put one on the boat and try it. So Minn Kota, hashtag Minn Kota if you're listening. I've got quick release mounts on this one now. I have put it back on the boat, by the way. It is on the skiff today. And I had to do some modifications just to get it to mount with the quick release. Minn Kota, if you want to send me a new one to try to show everybody how it works, would love to try it out. But that's the trick with these things, guys. Just beware. They're when they work, they're awesome. When they don't work, it's a exercise in futility and frustration. So just be aware of that. And the other Minn Kota products, I actually replaced that one on my Lund. It was on the Lund to begin with another Minn Kota Tarova. I put a Tarova on there, not auto deploy. And that 24 volt Tarova has worked fine, flawlessly, as all the Minn Kota motors have done. I decided the other day that the Ulterra was sitting there, and my 12 volt that was on the skiff was getting older, and I said, you know what, the remote too was the old remote, not this one, but an old one. And I was having a hard time finding one. I said, you know what, I'm gonna put the Ulterra on here and put it on here today. Like I said, I had to put a little jack plate kind of thing to get it out far enough with the way it mounts on this skiff, but it's worked so fine so far today, so I figured I'd give you guys an update on this and let you know. So to all the Minn Kota apologists out there, hopefully you're feeling better. And to all the armchair mechanics, there's a lot of money to be made in repairing these motors, so you may want to get certified on how to do it and learn a little bit about them. Open you up a shop. Maybe you can make some money on repairing these things. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you guys on the water.